Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we are currently very close to being able to deploy one more time this month tick. Now we're getting low on the number of actually good missions that I want to run, so that's a little bit concerning for sure. But let's tick forward 2 days here and that should be absolutely fine. Let's just hop directly into the command center and see what we've got available. There is a solo duel here. That's intriguing, actually. So this solo duel will be about half of the total payment here for this month tick. There's also this duo duel, but that's not really any additional payment. I feel like we're better off in a solo duel than a duo duel. And then we've got a bunch of kind of crappy missions down here that I don't really want to do in this situation. So I think we're going to do this solo duel, and this is going to go very quickly indeed. We'll probably run this for just maximum payment. And we are almost certainly, well, first off, let's get a clear layout here. We're almost certainly going to run the crossbow X for this. So that, of course, means Magus. Okay. Let's deploy this, and we'll see what this ends up being. This is going to be a very fast loading time, so I'll see you guys in a moment, but it's not going to take very long at all. Okay, so here we are all loaded up, and let's hop in here and see what we've got. We need to eliminate this fairly quickly, of course, and what is this? What do they got? What did they bring? They brought in an avatar? Okay, we can work with that. That looks to me like the LRM loadout. I'm not 100% certain, but we'll find out. So the crossbow is going to make its way probably up into this cover. And we'll just position here for now. We are spawn protected for the moment. And we're going to have to close in on that avatar. The avatar moves before we do. And that's actually a really good thing. So those are definitely LRMs.
That was sloppy, lad.
Okay, so we're going to move up to somewhere around here. We need to close in a little bit. The question is, do we want to present our left side to them? And we do. So we want to position here. This is going to be in rough terrain, so we're going to take a bunch of stability. There's not a lot that we're going to be able to do about that, unfortunately. We're just going to position it here, not sprinting, so that we lose what stability we got there. And I'm going to fire on this guy with improved MRMs here. Light him up.
Roger.
Okay. Next up, let's see what he does. He backs off. Yep, there's a lot of stability. That is understood. That was always going to be the case, but we have to close in on him. So at this point, we're going to... Ooh, okay, we cannot sprint at this moment. We can't quite clear this. Once again, we want to protect our right side. So we want to position ourselves about here. Like so. Okay. The rough terrain is grim out over this way, no doubt about it, but we'll light him up and return that fire. We got a head hit on him there. And let's see what he does here. He backs up further, that's expected. That's a huge clustering. He got an engine crit out of that. That's gross.
Shredding my components.
Okay, so an engine crit there is really not great. We're going to move in a bit further here. Man, we need to get out of this rough terrain. The rough terrain is really insanely bad for us. But we might be able to take him out with this shot. If we do, that's great. If we don't, problems are about to ensue. We did not penetrate his armor there. He's had way better clustering than we did. Hang on, he didn't fire his lasers, or he just fired his lasers there. He did not fire his missiles. So that was some internal damage, but no crits there. That was huge. That was actually huge. We're going to move in, and we're going to kick him in his front arc. I'm not going to fire the lasers because of heat, but the rest of this, he only has 2 HP in that CT. Light him up.
To hell with the weapons.
So that's a successful melee. He is now unsteady. Okay, that could have gone a lot better, no doubt about it. Closing over that rough terrain was really rough.
Mission successful.
But we got there in the end. Fantastic. So, with that being the case, we're going to have to repair the Crossbow X a fair amount. There was that engine crit, so we're going to have to do a manual repair of the Crossbow X. But that's the only mission that we need for this month, so that should be absolutely fine. We're delighted to let our missions regenerate for next month because, yikes. We definitely don't need the sensor basic or the structure here, the generic structure, so that is all completely okay. No problem whatsoever. And let's proceed forward here and get that repair completed. We're going to be working on the Grasshopper, on the Crossbow X, and the Epimetheus, so we're not going to be wasting any of our mech bays. So that is good. The real question is, though, what next, right? Because we're getting close, but we're not going to be at our target endpoint yet. We're getting really, really, really close. The Epimetheus is how far out from being repaired? No, don't get started on that, Yang. We need to manually repair this. 38 days? Okay, we're not going to be waiting on the Epimetheus for sure. So we can just repair this crossbow, but we're going to need to refit it because we need to replenish the armor. So that'll be fine. We're going to max out this armor, and we're going to repair everything here. There we go. Go ahead and do that. That will be fine. So how long is that going to take? 7 days. So we wait for the crossbow to finish, and then we deploy again.
Got a new financial report
Cool.
for you, Commander.
Yep, that's going to be reasonably expensive. We're going to continue to be extravagant in our budget here. We can absolutely afford it. And that's going to regenerate our available missions, which is very useful for us. We probably wait until Plato is back here. That's going to be an additional 4 days. Let's just get some Z-bills here. Morale decreased by 5, but I'm not too concerned about morale. So that should be absolutely okay. We're going to get Plato back. That will be now, and then we'll deploy here. So that should be, in theory, relatively okay. Let's hop into our barracks and do some training here. We did not do training before the last mission, so there is likely some training available for some of these guys anyway.
Good to go.
So far, actually, yeah, a point of tactics for Magus. That's very solid.
Sweet. I'm receiving.
Anybody else
Good
in
to go.
here?
Standing by.
Yes, a point of guts for Savarok.
Standing by.
And then for Succubus, we can take Tactician. That should be very, very good. Moving that initiative up is important for Demolishers. Oh, you can also grab a point of piloting. Do it.
Commander.
That will be absolutely good too.
Hey there.
And then for Weasel Cakes, a point of piloting or a point of guts, we are going to take the point of piloting.
Training complete.
That'll be fine. We could wait for tactics, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so let's hop into the command center and let's see what is available now. So this should be regenerated. Yes, this looks much better. Okay, so we immediately see this recovery mission. It's low pay. And that likely means that we would take low amounts of damage. I'm interested in that. For sure. This early in the month, getting this amount of pay without really taking much damage could be very, very intriguing. Maybe we sit about here and we take full pay. We're probably not interested in salvage against the local pirate organization, and this will boost up our reputation with the Federated Sons, which is not bad. Some Davian rep would be good. So let's load in our standard layout. This should be absolutely fine. The Epi Prime is still being repaired, and let's deploy this. I'll see you guys once again after the loading screen. I'm not expecting a huge amount of difficulty here. We're just here for a payday. See you guys in a moment. Okay, so here we are all loaded up, and let's see what we've got here. I'm not expecting significant
Command
resistance here.
interface initiated.
So that means we're going to be up against like 36 heavy bombers, right? That sounds right. Apparently the operative is dead, and that means that we just need to download the decryption key. Okay, so there's no secondary objective here. Noted. That seems absolutely fine. We're going to have to spawn quite a long ways away from the target facility. Here seems like a reasonable place to spawn. This is going to be the Nidhogg out over here. Sure, that seems okay. We might have this guy stuck on the rock, but that's not a big deal. So let's see what we've got going on here. We immediately have enemy contact. We see contact up over this direction. Sure. So we have 2 allied Nidhoggs here. That's a lot. No doubt about that. This is a Plainsman. We see an Atlas, a Javelin, and an SRM carrier. That's a really mixed bag as far as a lance goes. So we've got a Plainsman, which is irrelevant, a 35-ton vehicle, an SRM carrier, which is a heavy vehicle, but very much a glass cannon, and a Javelin, which is teeny tiny, and an Atlas, which is huge and very dangerous, but really vulnerable to backstab. Okay, so that's very strange. That is a very, very odd lance. We're going to brace about here.
Waiting on you, Commander.
And the archer is just going to set up position down over here. We just need to get ourselves into a position here where we can eliminate that SRM carrier as soon as possible. I'm hoping to see the SRM carrier move towards us. When is it? Okay, it's phase 19 as of right now. That Javelin is going to close in a little bit. No shockers there. Okay. Our crossbow X is going to position somewhere like here. I want to be in cover and braced at the end of this round with nearly everything. But of course, brace doesn't affect vehicles, so that is fine for now. Okay, so that SRM carrier moved about where I wanted it to. I'm wondering about the actual terrain here. So this goes up. That SRM carrier might not be within LOS of anything.
How's it going?
It isn't. Okay. So we're going to have to take out the SRM carrier with indirect fire for right now. That is, I guess, reasonably fine. Let's put the rifleman here. Next up is the Bandersnatch. This is going to be one of those indirect firers, and we're going to put it right there. Then we've got the Grasshopper. The Grasshopper wants to advance forward as much as it can. This is kind of a dangerous area for it to be in, though. There's absolutely no cover out over here. I'm going to put it here and brace it, rather than sprinting it forward for that extra little bit. The Marauder is going to go here, be in cover and braced. The Grasshopper is kind of our bait at this point. The Devastator is going to need to start moving forward as much as it can.
Heading out. Full speed.
We're just looking to accelerate that up, and we're looking to accelerate up the Nidhogg as well. So we'll position that there. Only 7 evasive is not a lot of evasive, but for the time being, that'll do. So that Atlas moves up, no problem there for the moment, and we're going to put our Devastator here. That's intriguing. We can fire on the Plainsman from there. Fascinating. So for now, that's reasonably fine. Now the question is, when does that SRM carrier move? Phase 18. Okay. So the Plainsman moves up and fires on our Devastator. Doing a lot, actually, there.
Losing armor.
13 damage per SRM is quite a lot. Next up is going to be this Javelin. That's okay. No major issues here. That Plainsman, of course, has to go. But the SRM carrier is going to have a hard time moving forward a bit. So the Javelin positions out over here. We have an allied unit coming in. This is probably going to be one of those Nidhoggs, and indeed. Let's see what it does here. I would like to see it start to hit that Atlas. That's what I want to see. I don't really love the frontal angle there, but, I mean, that's a big softening attack. So that should be good. Makes the Atlas unsteady as well. Yeah, that's not bad. That seems absolutely great.
Talk to me.
So the crossbow X can position here. This is within cover, and we can fire on that Plainsman. Hit odds are not phenomenal. The Plainsman moved forward and has 9 evasive right now, but let's at least soften it up.
Copy that.
Not too shabby. I like it.
Yes, Commander.
So next up would be the Black Knight. I'm going to position the Black Knight here.
I'm going.
We can fire on the Plainsman, or we can fire on that Atlas right into that weak side arc. I'm going to do that with the binary laser, light him up. 55 damage into that Atlas. I like it. So that looks good. Next up is going to be our Rifleman. We are unfortunately not in a position where any of our indirect are moving before this SRM carrier, it feels like, but I guess that's fine. We'll put the Rifleman. I really don't like these positions. In order to fire, we have to be out of cover. I'm concerned that the SRM carrier is able to make it to about here and fire on us. I don't know that it will be able to, but I don't know that it won't either. I'm going to position
Yes,
us
I'm there.
here. And I'm firing on that Atlas. Light him up.
Target locked in.
So hefty damage dealt to the Atlas. I think we only hit one of those PPCs, but that's okay. So next up, unfortunately, is that SRM carrier. We don't want to take a salvo from it. It's not in LOS right now, and I'm not convinced it makes it to LOS, but we'll find out. Okay, that's an awkward direction. Uh-huh. All it did was fired a narc on the allied Nidhogg.
Yes, Commander.
I like it. That is really, really solid for us. So the crossbow is going to move up to here,
Confirmed.
and I'm going to drop indirect missiles on this SRM carrier, probably. Our hit odds are way better on that Atlas, though. I don't want to fire on the Atlas. I really, really don't. We need to be chunking down the armor on this SRM carrier. So looks like listen kill is the way to go here. We really don't want to take a salvo from that SRM carrier. Light him up. Okay, so we'll reduce its armor a little bit there. Next up is an allied unit, probably the other Nidhogg. Yes, well, actually the other Nidhogg and the Drillson. So that Nidhogg moves up, fires on the Plainsman. It's almost certainly going to kill it here. Okay, so it fired its rockets there. Not its bombs, just its rockets. That's absolutely noted.
I hear ya.
The Archer is going to lob missiles at the SRM carrier. Not the greatest hit odds here, but we'll take it. Yep, okay. We're just softening up that armor. It absolutely has to go away. So next up is going to be that Drillson. It moves in and fires on that Atlas. Good hits there. The Atlas has low armor, certainly. That enemy Nidhogg has done a lot to it. So next up would be our Marauder. The Marauder can position here and fire on only the Atlas, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to be firing our UAC-5 and tag here. That Atlas does still have quite a lot of armor, to be clear. We're not attacking its rear arc. Atlases are super weak in their rear arc, and not really anywhere else.
Understood.
I'm going to move the Grasshopper up to here for now. I'm very concerned about this SRM carrier next round.
Good to go.
So I'm going to take the Nidhogg up over here. I'm going to do what this Nidhogg did, and I'm going to fire not AoE rockets, but only the heavy rocket launcher on this SRM carrier, as well as the snub nose.
Confirmed.
Beautiful. So the SRM carrier is gone. That's exactly what we wanted to see. The primary threat to us is now over.
Short-range missiles.
Unless they drop additional units in when we get the target zone, which they probably will, to be honest. So that Atlas moves up, fires at the allied Nidhogg. We're fine with this. So that all looks
Commander?
good. Next up is our Devastator, and that's just going to close in
Going to
up over
full
this
throttle.
way. It doesn't get any LOS on the Javelin, and that's fine. Next is the Allied Demolisher, sensor locking that Atlas. Fascinating.
Good to go.
So our Bandersnatch is almost certainly going to fire on the Atlas here. This is going to make the Atlas unsteady again, although the hit odds are low. We're going to make it unsteady here. So no more evasive from that Atlas. Perfect. I'm not sure it had any to begin with, but that is certainly a lot of armor damage dealt to it. Next up would be our Marksman, and we're going to continue to hit the Atlas with artillery.
Engaging.
That's a solid hit right there. Structure exposure, most likely in that arm. Yep, that is indeed exactly where that was. So I want to move the Devastator somewhere where it can hopefully attack the Javelin, but the Javelin is hiding behind the hill curve over here. So there's not a lot to be done there at this time. Now, the Allied Nidhogg is going to move here. It moves up. It's going for the Atlas. It could easily kill the Atlas. At the very least, I feel like that's a knockdown. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Basically, no armor left in that Atlas. Getting hit by 2 Nidhoggs as well as all of our indirect is not going well for it. And there we go. The Atlas has a core meltdown and lights the entire forest on fire. Looks good. Okay, so now the only remaining enemy is the Javelin. there's likely, if we can scroll over here, there we go, there's likely going to be an additional lance spawning. I can't imagine this will be the only one, right? Even on only a 1 million compensation. Indirect LRMs on our rifleman there.
Damage is
From a
nice.
javelin. Okay. That was unexpected, but it's
I've got your
fine.
back.
We don't actually mind. We get a direct LOS with the crossbow
Roger
X.
that.
Let's light this guy up. He might well die to this MRM blast.
Triggering an alpha strike.
Structure exposure there,
Take that
not
as a
quite as
lesson.
much damage as I would have liked. The clustering was mediocre at best. But that's in the CT, so he's not going to last very much longer. We're going to fire probably... Ooh. Direct fire side arc. I like it. Let's go. So a bunch of heat sink destructions there. The javelin is now unsteady. It is not going to last very long.
Let's do
Next
this.
up is the Nidhogg. I'm not going to do a significant amount of
Moving on.
attacking with the Nidhogg. We're just going to fire the Snubnose here. It could destroy the javelin as it is, depending on where it hits. It unfortunately hit the arm.
Inflicted some
Actually, I
heavy
think it
damage.
hit the left torso there. That wasn't as good as I had hoped, but it'll do.
Commander.
Next up is our SPG. Yeah, let's just drop artillery on this javelin. That'll probably
Target
kill it.
acquired.
And there we go. Fantastic. So now we just need to move in and get the decryption key. We'll be exiting combat
Bob?
after this, and we'll see if there's another lance that
Roger.
drops. There may or may not be. But for the
Waiting
time
for
being, we're
order.
just going to step forward, sink heat, and brace.
I await your command.
So we're just advancing up. In fact, we'll just
On my
sprint
way.
with the Black Knight.
Double
That's
time.
absolutely fine. No problem whatsoever here. We've taken very little damage thus far. There is a little bit of damage that we took, but very, very little for the moment. There
Understood.
may well be
Moving
another
back.
lance, and if there is, our Nidhogg is fresh. Well, almost fresh. We did burn
Copy
those rockets on the SRM carrier, but
Yes,
almost fresh. We're going to move our Devastator up to here. We're going to need to get it up in here, but probably we don't want to pick up in that Devastator. We
Aye, aye.
might be able to pick up in the Nidhogg, and that would probably be the best place to do it, to be honest. Okay, so our allies are going to move first here. That's fine. Yeah, they're just kind of running around. That's all completely okay. There are no enemies to target at this moment. It's still wild, the composition of their lance. But okay.
Got it.
So I'm going to grab our Nidhogg here, and we're going to head up to here. There we go. The Grasshopper will head up to there, and we're just going to
Roger
advance
that.
basically everyone towards the enemy base here.
Hitting out.
We're taking up the defensive
rocking
position up this hill, and that'll be
Copy
very
that.
handy if there ends up being any
Aye,
additional
aye.
enemies. So our Devastator is going to go here, our other Devastator is going to go here. That all seems good. The SPG is going to just make its way as up as it can. Beautiful. So next round, we should be able to get the Nidhogg into the base, which may or may not be able to download the decryption key. We'll find out. And that may or may not be the end of the mission. I'm assuming there's another lance, because this is RogueTech, and there's always another lance. But, you know, it is theoretically possible that there isn't. Especially since this is only a 4-skull and 1 million compensation.
Moving out.
We did not choose this for particularly complicated missions.
Moving
Why are we not selecting the Nidhogg? I want to select the Nidhogg here. Okay, we're going to put the Nidhogg right up over here. Okay. So we're on station now, and we should, in theory,
Moving out.
Acknowledged.
either get, at the end of this mission, a new lance, or
Copy
the
that.
mission should end. One or the
Roger
other.
that.
We'll find out.
Got it, Commander. Location
We have the
Okay, that's it. Beautiful. So there is no additional lance. So we need to repair the rifleman, but I believe that's the only mech that took damage. Our Devastator took damage, a little bit. But that gets repaired automatically for free because it's a vehicle. So that should be reasonably fine. A little bit of armor damage to the rifleman is no concern. That went very, very well. And that got us almost, not quite, but almost half of the amount that we need for our monthly report. So that is good. Very, very solid there. Combine that with how much we made last month, and that was really good. So we're up to about 14 million. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all with how close we are, or rather how far we are from the month report. I like it really, really, really well. That looks very good. We could probably get to 20 million if we were to liquidate our inventory, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to get up to 20 million as a nest egg and call it there, is the idea. So we just need to make ourselves like another 7-ish million, which should be only a couple more month ticks, especially if we keep having these relatively profitable months. The last month was very profitable, and we'll see how this one goes, but it's shaping up well thus far. So that looks good. And what do we got here? It shouldn't be much in terms of repairs. 1 day. Beautiful. I love it. That is phenomenal. Well, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to go make ourselves additional money. We need about 5.2 million with what we made from that last mission. Beautiful. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kintogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.